49ers Seahawks week 1. It is officially here. It's finally here. Man, I'm super pumped for this game like every other 49er fan is. What a day today's going to be. We get 49ers Seahawks in Seattle, the historic rivalry between both teams. Man, this one's going to be a battle until the end. You got a new revamped Seattle Seahawks offense taking on a young Robert Saleh-led defense with the 49ers. I think, to me, that matchup is going to be the biggest in this game. When you look at the 49ers defense, a lot of new faces, a lot of rookies. They lost some names. Defensive line is revamped. Bryce Huff, Mykel Williams, Alfred Collins, CJ West. You got Kalia Davis and Jordan Elliott. Those guys are obviously there last year, and then how can you forget about Nick Bosa? This defensive line can be very, very good, but it's going to take some guys stepping up, and that's just the way it is. And I think they can. I think they have all the potential. This defensive line has all the potential in the world to step up and to be one of the better units in all of football. When you look at the secondary, Jair Brown and Jason Pinnock were listed as the starting safeties on the unofficial depth chart. I'm assuming that Jair Brown and Jason Pinnock will be the starters going into this game, but I think Marquise Siegel could very well work his way into the starting lineup if Jair Brown struggles early this season. So I'm very interested to see how these safeties do. I haven't really seen a lot of Jason Pinnock. So I'm pumped to see. I've obviously I've heard on Twitter and I've seen some things where he's had a phenomenal camp and a phenomenal offseason. Super stoked to see Pinnock and what the addition of him can mean for the 49ers going forward. Defensive backs, Upton Stout there in the slot, Diamador Lenore, Renardo Green. That is a very, very talented secondary and cornerback room. Upton Stout's had a phenomenal offseason, a phenomenal camp, played very well in the preseason. Obviously had an injury there towards the end of training camp, but he's back. He's healthy. Super stoked to see, what Upton Stout can do. He made a lot of noise throughout the entire offseason. I think just when you look at the speed, number one, that he's got. He ran a 4.4. He's got sticky coverage and plays with this vicious attitude. He was the fastest in the gauntlet among defensive backs at the NFL Combine. So this guy flies all over the field. He's very physical. He made very good plays throughout this entire training camp. I'm very stoked and excited for Upton Stout. I think that when you look at the 49ers stout or slot corners, Upton Stout, Chase Lucas, those guys played very well, throughout the entire offseason. And the 49ers are sitting pretty good at slot cornerback. So, super excited to see first round pick Mykel Williams. There's so many players I'm excited to watch in this game. Seattle Seahawks offense looks a lot different. They traded DK Metcalf. They signed Sam Darnold. They traded away Geno Smith. That's going to look a lot different. And to me, what comes down to the 49ers winning this game is their defense. I think their offense should be fine, right? Like, I think with McCaffrey playing with about as healthy as a McCaffrey you're going to probably get this season, with him playing, with the addition of Brian Robinson Jr., you got George Kittle, who has a great matchup today versus the Seahawks. Ricky Pearsall, I think, is going to have a monster year. He's Brock Purdy's guy going into this year, even though Jawan Jennings is back. I think Ricky Pearsall is going to lead the team in targets this year. Kittle obviously could very well, but I think amongst the wide receivers, Ricky Pearsall is going to lead this team in targets. So super excited to see that connection. I think that connection gets going early and often today. Pearsall and Purdy. I think that's going to be a key matchup. Tariq Woolen, I'm assuming Tariq Woolen is going to be on Ricky Pearsall. But yeah, I think George Kittle and Ricky Pearsall, I think both of those guys are going to have big games today. I think they're in for big games. I think they're set up for big games. So I would fully expect both of those guys to come in to this game and produce, very early and often. So again, to me, the matchup, this is going to be a tense game until the end. The 49ers defense will have to hold up against the Seattle running game as much as they possibly can. I think the key here is going to be try to get Seattle to pass the ball more than they are running the ball. I think Seattle's going to have more success if the 49ers can't stop the run. The 49ers are going to have to figure out ways to be able to stop this run and limit this run as much as possible. Brock Purdy's not going to be able to do this all himself. He's got to have a defense to back him up. And that's going to be crucial in this game. Now, I do want to mention Brock Purdy is 3-0 at Lumen Field in his career. I don't want to jinx anything, but he's never lost at Lumen Field. So I think in those games where he's won, he's had a good supporting cast around him. And I think that goes with the offensive weapons that he has and the defense to back him up. I think, I don't know. I think the defense is, you could argue that the defense is a little too green to have success against the Seahawks offense. But to me, I think to me it's just going to come down to a couple third down stops here and there. I think it's going to come down to, the 49ers getting Seattle off the field early and often and being able to capitalize on offense. The 49ers offense was terrible in the red zone last year. I would expect that to be completely different this year with Christian McCaffrey back and on the field. That makes all the difference in the world. But yeah, man, I mean, I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be a battle. I think you look at the linebackers, Fred Warner, D Winters. I'm super interested to see what D Winters can do. They obviously drafted Nick Martin, who had a pretty good offseason and preseason. Going into this year. So I'm interested to see if D Winters has taken a leap forward. See what that kind of looks like. But yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a battle until the end. I think this game is going to come down to the 49ers young defense being able to create opportunities, turnovers, 3 and outs. I think that is going to be the biggest thing to look out for in this game. So with that being said, I want to, give my predictions here. I think this is going to be a very, very, very close game. I think it's going to be closer than, I hope it's not close. I hope the 49ers go in here, make a statement and win by 2 scores in Seattle. But I think just given both of these coaches, Mike Macdonald, Kyle Shanahan, Mike Macdonald has had some success against Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has struggled in times against Mike Macdonald. I think given both of the coaches and the success that they've had against, one another in past, Mike McDaniel, in my opinion, has got the best of Kyle Shanahan in majority of their outings, even going back to when Mike Macdonald was the Ravens defensive coordinator. I mean, the Christmas Day game in 2023 comes to mind where, they created 4 interceptions against Brock Purdy. All of those were not his fault, but they created 4 interceptions against Brock Purdy and the 49ers on Christmas Day. That was Mike Macdonald's scheme for the Baltimore Ravens going into that game. So, I mean, Mike Macdonald has had a lot of success. He had a lot of success in times last year against Kyle Shanahan. But yeah, to me, this game is going to come down to the wire. This game is going to come down to probably a field goal, maybe a touchdown. I'm taking the 49ers here. I'm going to take them 27 to 24. I think the 49ers win by a field goal. Somebody I wasn't talking about in this game that it's going to be crucial for the 49ers win is Jake Moody. Jake Moody has to play good today. I'm not confident that he will. I'm not going to lie to you. He missed some kicks throughout the preseason, but then he also made some kicks throughout the preseason. He made that 59-yard field goal to win the game against the Raiders in the preseason. That is an X factor. That's a potential X factor for the 49ers outside of guys like McCaffrey, Ricky Pearsall, and George Kittle. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Would Kyle Shanahan feel good about sending Jake Moody out for a 44, 45-yard field goal with the game on the line? I don't know. I mean, you got to think they're going to send him out anyway. But is Kyle Shanahan going to feel confident? I don't think he will. I think this is going to be crucial. Jake Moody will be crucial, and that's somebody I did not mention. So, yeah, yeah, I think, again, I mean, to me, this is going to come down to the pass rush. It's going to come down to the 49ers being able to stop the run, limit, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, and create as many opportunities for the offense as you can on defense. So I'm going to go Niners 27-24. That's pretty high scoring for the most part. I think it can be pretty high scoring, just given the 49ers' young defense and the amount of weapons that the 49ers have on offense. But yeah, this game is going to be tense until the end. I think Brock Purdy starts the 2025 season off with a bang. I think he has a couple touchdown passes. I think McCaffrey gets in. I think the 49ers do enough to win this game here in week 1. So give me the Niners 27-24. Let me know your guys' predictions in the comments down below. Yeah, as always, go Niners. Stay tuned. Following the game, I'll obviously come on here with my post-game thoughts, kind of breaking the game down and things like that. But yeah, as always, go Niners. Let's start off 1-0 today in Seattle. How does that sound?